Any good, what are the big Thanksgiving songs? To grandmother's house we go. Over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house we go. She's gonna cook us up in a pot. I don't know how that song goes. I never learned it. Oh, that's the Thanksgiving song. Ba 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 bum, ba 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 bum. Are you ready for some football? Thanksgiving is just around the corner, and the weather is cold, the leaves are falling off the trees, and we're all looking for something to warm us right down to our bones. And there's a hot drink for cold weather that I have yet to do on the show that I've had a few requests for. It's hot buttered rum, and I thought this was a perfect opportunity to get right in there and make some hot buttered rum. So we're gonna do it two different ways. We're gonna make it first the way it appears in Jerry Thomas's 1860s bar manual, and also an Imbibe by David Wondrich. And then we're gonna make a version that, a riff on it, my own version on hot buttered rum. Both of which are pretty simple and pared down. There's a lot of recipes for hot buttered rum out there that involve making a hot buttered rum batter and setting that aside and keeping it in the fridge. They make great hot buttered rums, decadent even. I don't really like having things that take up space in my fridge. I have limited space, so I like a recipe that's going to involve ingredients that are at least shelf stable. So that's the way I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it old way, 1860s way, and the modern way. So with Thanksgiving coming up, I am thinking about the early American colonies, particularly of New England, where the holiday of Thanksgiving comes from. And boy, did people love to drink up there and back then. Man, there was a lot of drinking going on when we start looking at colonial America. And in New England, it was rum. They loved rum. They loved it. They drank it and they made it, but they preferred other people's rum to their own because the grass is always greener, and also because New England rum was notoriously blah. And they drank it mixed, and they drank it straight, and they drank it cold, and they drank it hot, and they drank it for medicinal purposes, and they drank it for leisure, and they drank it with a fox in a box, in the dark, in a train, in the rain. They loved it. And I mentioned that they drank it hot, and the way that they drank it hot was in a hot buttered rum, which is an awful lot like a hot toddy, except with butter added to it, which makes it really only like hot buttered rum. There's not a lot of things that have hot butter in them as far as beverages go, except for I think actually there are certain coffee traditions. Bullet coffee, not for me, it turns out. But a lot of people love that. Keto people. Ketos. We need a nickname for ketoids. Oh, there it is, ketoids. Okay, so we're gonna make this drink the Jerry Thomas way. And the first thing we're gonna need is a glass. So maybe not the ideal glass for this, but for a couple of reasons, it's what I'm gonna use. The reason is that I only have one toddy glass. How that happens, I don't know. When I add a bar spoon of Demerara sugar, a little bit of allspice, ground, 1 clove, optional. Might want to go with ground cloves there as well, but I'm gonna throw 1 clove in. I like cloves. Some people really don't like cloves. It's a very divisive flavor, sort of like cilantro. Some people are just genetically, they taste like toothpaste or sausage instead of cilantro. They can't have it. And some butter. I would say about a tablespoon, but that's visibly, I think that is actually about a tablespoon of butter. About a tablespoon of butter. Next, we want to add 2 ounces of rum. New England made rum, of course, back at this time, but a Jamaica rum would have been more desirable to most New English people. I would like something for this kind of a drink, a touch of funk, but not super funky. Smith & Cross would be great here as well, which is fairly funky and proofy. But we're gonna go with this Appleton Estate Reserve. Excellent choice as well. And now we want to add 4 to 5 ounces of hot water. I'm pouring it directly into my butter to make sure that just to help it melt. So our goal is to really get that totally melted. And now I'm going to pretty aggressively stir this. Just get everything dissolved and melted and incorporated. This is hot buttered rum as it would have been made about 1860 in the Jerry Thomas Bartender's Guide. Certainly hot buttered rum goes way back before then, and this is even a refinement on those earlier recipes. But yeah, it's an arbitrary choice. and I made it. That is okay. That is okay. It's a little thin. I might have added too much water, honestly. Really expected it to be much headier, much more fatty, much more thick, you know, more intense mouthfeel. It's, you drink things with butter in them so infrequently. It is such a unique mouthfeel. I mean, it coats your lips and mouth with this oily texture. It's hard to compare it to much else, honestly. It's pretty out there. I suppose it's a bit like a pearl diver in certain ways. That's a video worth checking out as well. Also involves butter. It does not end up tasting anything like a pearl diver. Of course, this is hot, that's cold. It's a hearty, warm drink, thoroughly good for sitting by the fire. It's sort of like a glass of soup. It's sweet, but not overly sweet. Honestly, I think that this could actually use a little bit more simple, a little more sugar. I'm gonna add a little bit more sugar to that. I think that with a little bit more sugar, a lot of the flavors will express better. I think that this is undersweetened at this point. Yes, absolutely. Now that it is a little bit sweeter, you can really taste that butter, how do you describe the taste of butter? It tastes like butter. It tastes like butter. I don't know how to describe the taste of butter. This is a nutty and warm, mildly sweet, holiday, Christmassy, Thanksgiving-y, gets right under your skin and makes you feel all good inside kind of drink. So that's a glass of Wilfred Brimley.
Here, drink, but do not spill. It killed the grass.
There are a number of more modern hot buttered rum recipes that involve making hot buttered rum. Batter, setting that aside, reserving that, and doling it out as you make your hot buttered rum. I was interested in doing my own version of hot buttered rum, but eschewing a batter. I don't know, I'm not a fan of batters in drinks, to be honest, of having to sit on them, of having to store them in the fridge and so on and so forth. So I think that those batter-based recipes all yield excellent hot buttered rums, but for my own purposes and the way I like to have my bar set up, it wasn't gonna work for me. There is a technique called fat washing, which allows us to imbue into a spirit any flavor that's trapped in any kind of fat. You can fat wash with olive oil, you can fat wash with coconut oil, you can fat wash with bacon grease. Actually, bacon grease is a favorite wash amongst fat washers. It's very famously used in the Benton's Old Fashioned that was invented by Don Lee and served at PDT. That drink is built around bacon grease, fat washed, Four Roses bourbon. But we're making hot buttered rum, and so what I did was I took a bottle of Appleton Estate and about 250 grams of butter, and I melted that butter in a pan, and then I kept heating it until it was simmering, and then I kept heating it until it was clear, and then I kept heating it until it started to turn brown. And then little drops of fat solids start to turn brown and collect in the liquid and drop out of it and precipitate to the bottom. We keep going. This makes something called brown butter. And then you take that mixture and you dump that into a pot or some kind of a container with your bottle of rum. You can mix them up with a spoon or a whisk, or in my case, an immersion blender. Just try to get them integrated really well. The thing is that the butter is super low density. It's gonna wanna float on top of your rum no matter what. So you want to do a lot of agitation right away to just really integrate those molecules together, and then let it sit for a little while, like an hour. Throw the whole thing in the freezer. The fat will congeal into a puck on the surface, right up at the top. Poke a hole in that or cut a little hole in it, whatever. Pour your spirit through a cheesecloth or a nut milk bag or some kind of a coffee filter to pull out any of those fat solids. And that's what you end up with. Is, although this has changed in appearance, it's no longer clear. Some more may precipitate out, and then I'll siphon that off. This is now a shelf-stable rum that has the flavors of butter, the flavors of brown butter imbued throughout it. And it only takes a few hours to make this. You know, this is not like even an overnight job. Just for my own purposes, I'm going to do a quick taste of this against its original form, just to confirm that the result is, just to confirm that there's a huge change in the result. This is the Appleton Estate Reserve blend. Now you can see visibly that there's a huge difference between these two, so I don't think there's any real question here that we're gonna see a big change. Okay, this is the original sweet, funky rum. Like brown sugar. Ooh, nice brown sugar, kind of caramel at the very end there. Very pleasant. A little bit of ethanol, not too bad. Good. Now, let's try this. This tastes like butterscotch. This tastes like caramel corn, butterscotch, Werther's Originals, those caramel cream chewy things that Grandma always had, and also rum, strongly. And then it kind of finishes off almost like marshmallows or something. There's a real interesting turn at the end there. Sweet, delicious. These are night and day different. There's really no similarity between them at all. So what I want to do, I'm going to take my fat washed rum and I'm going to build another version of a hot buttered rum using that. Now, the thing to me too that you're going to see is different here is that by browning the butter, we get a totally different flavor than you do here. I think personally, this has the texture of butter, but I don't really get a lot of butter flavor out of it. By browning it, we're gonna get a lot more flavor out of this over here. So we'll take our glass. I'm gonna put in 2 bar spoons of this Demerara sugar, or 1 ounce of a Demerara simple syrup, maybe even 3 bar spoons. I think that we can't, this is not a spirit forward drink. We want this to be sweet. I want to add 2 ounces of my fat washed Appleton Estate Rum. So I want to add 4 ounces of hot, borderline boiling water. Want to mix that pretty thoroughly to get my sugar dissolved. So now I just want to garnish that with 1 float of star anise. I happen to really like anise flavors, not everybody does, and a cinnamon stick. And let's give this a taste. My Greg's Hot Buttered Rum. Whoa, man, that's good. That is decadent. That is outrageously good. That's an opulent flavor. That is like drinking warm caramel. I mean, that just tastes like butterscotch, actually, not caramel, because there's a difference. That tastes like butterscotch in the best way possible. Oh, you do get the anise from the garnish because it's hot and it's creating aromas that I think are very complementary to that flavor. You get a little bit of herbal, little bit of bite with this sweet, warm, buttery flavor. That's magic. It's magic. You get that butterscotch right up front, tempered by that aniseed olfactory response, that nose of aniseed, and then the rum, buttery, butterscotch, which slides right into this like marshmallowy flavor. This is an absolute treat. It's a treat. I mean, it's definitely not something you can drink every day, but I bet if you make these for your guests at Thanksgiving, they will thank you. I hope you've got a great Thanksgiving planned, that you're around your friends and family and loved ones. I'm certain that if you serve these up to your guests, or if you bring these as a guest, you will be the hero of the night, right up until anybody has to drive home. So watch out for that. I'd be very, very careful. You might end up having to put up some guests overnight that you hadn't quite planned to. Oh my God, it's so good. It's just so good. It's incredible. And one of the things I love about this too is that this can be a little greasy, honestly. Drinking butter is not necessarily for everybody. You get none of that here. This is a clean drink. That is one of the things I really like about this. It's not heavy. There's no heavy cream. There's no, like, you can drink this and not feel like you ate a stick of butter. So my barware is provided courtesy of Barfly Mixology gear. If you want to use any of the tools I'm using on the show, you will find an affiliate link in the pinned comment below. My watches are provided courtesy of my good friends at Crown & Caliber. If you're interested in watches at all, you probably want to swing by and check out their website. There's a link in the pinned comment below. A couple years ago, I did a Thanksgiving drink that I call the Thanksgiving Dinner Cobbler. That's a pretty good drink, actually. I encourage you to check out that episode. I'm on Twitter at HowToDrink. I'm on Instagram at HowToDrink. I'm on Patreon at patreon.com/HowToDrink. I have a Twitch at twitch.tv/GregFromHTD. If you like the show, I really hope you will subscribe. Check out one of my other videos as I manifest how to drink.